Hey y'all, we are going to talk about the metric system and then how we can do dimensional analysis even with our metric units. So definitely make sure you have Pinky and I think that's all you need right now besides something to write with to take your notes. Okay, so here's your Pinky, and so I just want to kind of review with you, what's all on there. Okay, so this part here are our non-metric units. But down here are the metric units. Okay, and so what's going on here is it's a big table. So here are your prefixes. So pico, nano, micro, milli, centi, deci. And then deca, hecto, kilo, mega, giga, tera. Those are all considered prefixes. And they can all be attached to this middle part, which are your base units. And so these are just a couple: meters, liters, grams, and seconds. Those are just a few base units. But we can throw other base units in there as well. So for example, like calories, which you would abbreviate CAL. So like the calories we eat, that's actually a base unit. So I could say kilocalories or centicalories. We can add a prefix on top. This area underneath are the symbols for those prefixes. This one's the most confusing. It's like a cursive U. We have to be really careful that we definitely use a little m versus the big M. It matters because one means milli and one means mega. So just kind of look at that notation there. And then down here, the next kind of level is the meaning. And these are in multiples of 10. So that means instead of kind of writing it out, what they did was they just put it in the powers of 10. So we're going to talk about, okay, how do I relate my base units to a specific prefix? And then how do I make my conversion factors out of those? So down here, it gives you kind of a little key. So if you forget after this lesson, you can always reference it because you know that you can use Pinky on future quizzes and tests. So that's going to be kind of our big goal, making those conversion factors or equalities to conversion factors so that we can use it in dimensional analysis. Okay, so key thing here is just making sure you know how to identify a prefix versus a base unit, because that's really important for when you make your equality and then your prefixes. So a couple of things I always say to students to make it easy. If the unit has 2 letters, that means you have a prefix attached. Versus if it's 1 letter, it's going to be just a straight up unit. So for example, meters, okay, that's 1 letter, base unit. That means this is the base unit. Versus if you see something like cm, okay, 2 letters, so centimeter. So this is 2 letters. That's telling you that this has a prefix. And that's super important for when we establish our equalities and our conversion factors. Okay, so let's kind of practice being able to identify. So it says identify the prefix and the base unit in each set. Okay, so this one has 2 letters. So cm versus meter, which has 1 letter. Okay, so cm is my prefix and meter is my base unit. Also, the prefix will include the base unit in it. That's the other way to figure it out. Okay, so we have G, which stands for grams, so that's 1 letter. kg, K stands for kilogram, so that's 2 letters. Okay, so this grams is my base unit, and this kg is my prefix. So here's some in words, and so what I like to do is just kind of write it in the symbols. So decimeter, if you look down here, deci, you would use little d, and meters, if you look, here's an M, so you have decimeter versus meters. So again, 2 letters means it's the prefix. This 1 letter is the base unit. Okay, last one. Boop. So we have liter. So if I look down here, liter, L versus hectoliter. So hectoliter, so if we look here, hecto, that's definitely a prefix. You're going to use a little h, so hectoliter. So here you have 2 letters, so that must be the prefix, although you can figure it out here as well. And then this is just 1 letter, so this is the base unit. Oops, I can't write. There we go. Okay, so that's important so we can make our equalities. Okay, so what I mean by making equalities, if you think back to our dimensional analysis, is I want to take this chart and make it into these things where you have these equal signs. Because when we have that, then we can think about our conversion factors and figure out what number goes where with what unit. So here's kind of the chant. Okay, so I always say the prefix gets the 1, the base unit gets what the prefix means. Okay, so we're going to use this over and over and over. So the prefix gets the 1. So when we look at what we're trying to convert, when we look and we figure out we have a prefix, meaning it has 2 letters, when I put it into my dimensional analysis, it's going to have a 1 next to it. Where the base unit, the thing that has only 1 letter, it's going to get what the prefix means. So that means we're going to come down here to this meaning. So it's really opposite of this chart because this will not be with the tera. It will be with the base unit. So I'll kind of make some sense with that with some examples. So let's kind of flip through. Okay, so let's make some metric equalities to this. So let's say they want you to think about centimeters to meters. Okay, and at some point you're going to do some conversion with that. So I need to know, well, what's the equality? So when I say that, that means like you guys know that there's 12 inches in 1 foot. That's your equality. So we want to do the same thing for this. Okay, and you want to use this chart. Okay, so the first thing I say is, which of these is the prefix? So this one has 2 letters. So I'm just going to write a little note to myself. And this one has 1 letter. So you should be telling yourself, well, this is the prefix and this is the base unit. So if you think back to our chant, the prefix gets the 1. So this is going to get a 1. Okay, the base unit gets what the prefix means. So if I come down here, okay, I'm going to look for this prefix, centi. So it's here. It means 10 to the negative 2. The base unit gets what that prefix means. So in my equality, that's 10 to the negative 2. So that means this is what I would use in my dimensional analysis. 1 centimeter equals 10 to the negative 2 meters. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, let's say we're comparing grams to kilograms. Okay, and I'm asking you, okay, well, what's the equality? So I want to first think about, okay, this is 1 letter. This is 2 letters. So this is the prefix. This is the base unit. Okay, and then you're going to say that chant to you. The prefix gets the 1, so that means 1 kilogram. So the prefix gets the 1. The base unit gets what the prefix means. So our prefix was this K. So I'm going to come down here. So here's kilo. It means 10 to the 3rd. The base unit gets that. So 10 to the 3rd grams equals 1 kilogram. See how it's kind of backwards? Because this 10 to the 3rd is under the kilo, it doesn't go up here though. It goes with the base unit. So we have to make sure we say that chant. The prefix gets the 1, the base unit gets what the prefix means. So once you have that, then you can make conversion factors. So let's do one more, and this will kind of set us up for tomorrow. Let's say I'm saying, okay, what about mm to m? So little m stands for millimeters to meters. Okay, so again, I'm seeing 2 letters versus 1 letter. So this is my prefix, this is my base unit. Okay, so again, you're going to say that chant to yourself. The prefix gets the 1. The base unit gets what the prefix means. So my prefix is this M, which stands for milli. So I'm going to go here. So, whoops, which I now can't read. I apologize. There we go. So milli means 10 to the negative third. So I'm going to bring that up here because that's what the base unit gets. The base unit gets what the prefix means. So 10 to the negative third meters is equal to 1 millimeter. Okay, so then I could write that 2 ways. 1 millimeter per 10 to the negative third meters, or 10 to the negative third meters per 1 millimeter. So then we can start plugging that in to our dimensional analysis, trying to get our units to cancel out. So this is the start of us doing our metric units. And so when I see you next, we will work through doing this a little bit more and then integrating it with our dimensional analysis. Have a great rest of your day.